In this video, I'm going to tell you the specific set of steps as to how I am going to be a billionaire. And then, more importantly, I will tell you why and then what happens next. If you want the short 10-second answer, let me just spill the message now. I am buying Shiba Inu to have a billion-dollar position in my portfolio to create a deeply rooted price anchoring effect that I expect to influence my future trading decisions in a positive way. Ready to be a billionaire too? I'll explain why. Welcome to Unusual Due Diligence. I am your host Poseidon. This episode marks the first video on Shiba Inu, initially suggested to me by community member Voltron Supreme. Let me start by saying a few key things about what I'm not going to cover today. This video is not a hype train video. It is not a drop a zero video, nor is it a price chart video. Instead, in this video, I want to reach inside your brain and why you might consider being, at the very least, a Shiba millionaire. I will also be covering the mechanics of Shiba Inu. After all, the idea of Shiba going to $1 is pretty phenomenal when you can buy a few million coin for just a fistful of dollars. Is that at all realistic? That's a deeply contested question, but I can tell you this: don't let FOMO control your investing. FOMO is a real challenge to overcome as an investor. When I first started trading, there were two things that surprised me. First, that my trading improved the more that I improved and learned about myself. Second, that understanding and learning the brainwaves of myself was just as important as identifying what others were going through. Fundamental to both of these is psychology, which is the general bucket that we use to explain the sausage factory that is the inside part of our brains. In this fresh episode of Unusual Due Diligence, we take a bold look at Shiba Inu through the lens of human psychology. And specifically, we need to talk about fear, greed, and more importantly, goodwill. But first, let me be transparent with my Shiba Inu trading plan. I led a video with this, but let me say it again. I intend to be a billionaire. There's lots of paths to get there, but some are shorter than others. I've never had an investment that's displayed in my portfolio application register in the billions before, and for reasons I'll explain shortly, I will tell you why my aim is to buy and own a billion of Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu, isn't that just a meme coin? Well, that was my initial reaction too before I started researching Shiba. I assumed going into the research that Shiba Inu was just a meme and nothing more. You see, there's good reason to think that Shiba Inu is a meme coin, between the association to the other dog coin, Dogecoin, and then the self-proclaimed meme lord Elon Musk raising up Shiba into the public consciousness. If you look into Shiba and the ecosystem of Shiba, you start to see something quite, well, unusual. As the host of Unusual Due Diligence, I feel important to first distill down each asset that the channel covers. It's important I understand, for my own frame of reference, the inner purpose of each asset. What is the it factor? For example, Anchor, ANKR, is about enabling and simplifying access to Web 3.0. So as Web 3.0 continues to come online and do materially better, so does Anchor. Meanwhile, AMP is about enabling safe and secure transactions on those platforms. A kind of, oh, here's a magic bean type of solution. Then there's Clover Health Systems, and yes, that's not a cryptocurrency, but I cover it because it's about bringing first-in-class technology healthcare to improve outcomes for lives under management, which has already brought about impressive improvements to diverse populations. Now, Shiba Inu, what is it about? My answer is that Shiba Inu is not a meme. Shiba Inu is about community building, and that was the answer I came to before I read the white paper explaining the first principles behind this coin. You can imagine how excited I was to confirm that my own assumed due diligence that Shiba Inu is principally about community formation was then confirmed in the initial white paper that set out the asset's character and operation. And so, at this point, let's set aside all the fluff and go right to the heart of what the Shiba Inu coin is about. Before I do, though, let me explain 3 psychological effects, and then I'm going to bring those all in together with analysis of Shiba Inu. The 3 specific things I'm going to talk about are psychological effects that, whether you know it or not, impact any investment you do. There are more, but let's just talk about these 3. They are 1, fear of missing out, 2, price anchoring, and 3, goodwill. So let's start from the top. FOMO, or fear of missing out, is something that as I've grown older and wiser, I manage better. And in an admission of weakness to you, I still fall from time to time. What is it? FOMO is the urge that your more primitive brain ignites that if you don't take action to do a thing immediately, you're going to miss out on the rewards. This is a deep topic. I can say this about FOMO. If you're an investor and have spent any time in the markets, you've experienced FOMO whether you know it or not. Have you ever chased into a short squeeze play, bought in at an all-time high, or held on to an option play from profit to loss? I've been there. These are all of the related signs of having had a FOMO moment. Shopping stores and online e-commerce use FOMO to get you to buy a thing before time runs out, as an example. Speaking of retail, let's talk about another concept that's pretty popular in retail. It's called price anchoring. The mind, it's a funny thing. The idea with price anchoring is that a store or retailer can influence you, the shopper, to take a specific unconscious action by doing what's called a price anchor. Let me provide a simple example of this. Anchoring bias occurs when people rely too much on pre-existing information or the first information they find when making decisions. For example, if you see a t-shirt that costs $1,200, then a second one that costs $100, you're prone to see the second shirt as cheap. Speaking of shirts, are you inclined for unusual due diligence swag? I'm looking at ways to offset the investments I'm putting in building out the channel. Transparency, or due diligence, on the due diligence channel is important to me, so let me try to be clear. I want to ensure I'm providing you high quality value at the same time as building a channel that will allow me to go further and deeper and provide even more timely insights like a recent AMP discovery. Leave me a comment below if the idea of unusual due diligence swag gear is of interest. I'm not asking you to buy, I just want to know, does it interest you? I want to create a mutual goodwill. Speaking of goodwill, that's the third psychological point here. Nobody cares what you know until they know that you care. Goodwill is the link that I'm using to bring us from psychology back to Shiba Inu. This is a fantastic quote about goodwill. It links together psychology, business, and community in one moment. Here's what it says. You can say that goodwill is an emotion that exists within us. And when you create an emotional bond with the people you work with, you build a business network based on trust and integrity. By building goodwill, you show them their value and what it means to you and your business. So you now have a completed unusual due diligence for why I intend to have $1 billion Shiba Inu position. By putting in my portfolio an anchor of a position of over 1 billion units strong. The mere presence of this will cause me to make decisions in my day-to-day trading. This is a pure psychology play. More importantly, I demonstrated why the effect should work. I won't know for another year or two, and that's okay. If the theory holds, and for reasons I've already explained, all of my trading will improve as a result of this ploy. However, as with other things in life, the most important step is always that first one. Does your trading plan have room for $1 million position? If so, would that influence other decisions in your life? These are the thoughts I'll leave with you today. This is Poseidon, and in this fresh episode, we covered Shiba Inu and internal trading psychology. Make waves, my friend.